Hey, what's going on? Happy August 1st. We made it. Hope everybody's doing well. So for this live stream, I figured I would screen some books live, so give you an opportunity to jump in and help me out, participate in the screening process, ask some questions, and kind of go through an order that I got from Things from Another World. This is from July 8th. I did an unboxing of this one and wasn't particularly pleased with just the quality of the packing and just the way that the books looked in the bags. And I try and separate the unboxing from the screening as best I can. Sometimes I get anxious during the unboxing, and you'll see me like take some books out of the bag and start to look at it. But I really need to look at the books in more detail. And this is what the screening process is. So if you haven't watched any of my screening videos before, I take every book that I order and really examine it. And I'm not a professional grader, but I assign a grade to the book. And then as I catalog it inside Go Collect and Cover Price, then I put that grade in there. And so then to determine the uniqueness of the book, it is the grade, where I purchased it, and the date of purchase. Those are the three things that I use. So let me figure out here. We just want to go in alphabetical order. So I've got a stack here that I'll go through. So these are the books from that order. It's 9 books. I'll try and set aside, but again, just from the unboxing, I can show you. You'll see right there, like that's what I'm talking about. That's what I noticed during the unboxing. And it doesn't necessarily mean the books are all damaged. It just means that because the bags and boards were so mangled, it's possible that depending on how the books slid around in shipment, that it could have affected the books themselves. So we'll start with Batman 110. Now, this order I placed too, I was trying to mainly order the Wind number 8, the 25 copy, and then wanted to add a few other books that I either missed or I thought were picking up some heat. And that was sort of the genesis of why I placed the order. These things bug the heck out of me. I love the branding, but this is what I'm talking about specifically. If you can see on the back, it's making that indentation on the back of the bag and board. Now, that's the back, sure, but it's also doing it for the books that are sitting this way. And so what you'll find is on these over time, it's almost like the sticker's been placed on the front, and the edge of the sticker is pressing into the book. So if you have stacks of comics like this raised up, this sticker indentation ends up, the circle ends up on the front of your comic. And I've sent TFAW some notes on that, waiting to hear back. Just a nice piece of thin tape will do the same. All right, let's begin. So looking at that top corner, I don't necessarily see any issue. This is a nice heavy cardstock book, so I'd be shocked if it had an issue. And this is what I mentioned too. I do remember looking at this book. I don't know what that is. I'm trying to be... I honestly don't know. It's not a tear. It's just some sort of stain or mark on the corner. I don't think it really is affecting the condition. It's certainly affecting the presentation. I would probably still give the book a 9.8. It looks really clean everywhere else. Even in the corner, where typically look at like splitting, that corner looks good. corner also looks good. So all of this looks pretty good. It's just that little discoloration, but that's not enough to really ding the book. Now, the bag and board service, for the most part, it's consistent from TFAW. I don't often really replace these unless it's a very specific book, like that Win number 8. Assuming it gets a high grade, I'll probably replace that one. But these are pretty good to keep. Unfortunately, I'll probably be replacing a lot of them because of that. I'm not going to put that back in my collection. So I'll set this aside. And I'll grab a fresh bag and board. And I realized too, when I was recording these, I was spending a lot of time showing you how I put tape on the back. I'm not doing that anymore. That's a waste of everybody's time, really. Now I just need to find my pencil. I always use the very same mechanical pencil. I'm gonna write 9.8. I slide the book gently off my desk so I can pick it up without bending it. And then drop it in, let gravity take the rest. I never shove a book this way because you'll get that thumb depression right here on the top of the book, so I just let it slide in the book, and there we go. So now it's in here. I've got the 9.8 designation on the back, and then I'll set it aside. All right. So let's get in here with Go Collect. This is Batman 110. This is the Jock variant. And in Go Collect, again, I classify them all as if I had them all in a CGC slab. Even though I don't, I use the list to determine the difference between my raw books and my slabs. So this was July 8th. Things from Another World. Save and go back here. Batman 110. Yeah, that little thing in the corner bothers me. If I'm thinking about getting this slabbed to hang on the wall, I would consider getting a different copy. I don't know why, but the Batman series is starting to slow down for me a little bit. Getting a little fatigued with Batman. But I still subscribe, or if they have a cover like this Jock variant cover, I'll still pick it up. It's fantastic. I love it. But I'd have a hard time slabbing that one and dealing with that thing in the bottom left corner. Okay. I did forget to put this in here, so yes, it was in Go Collect and cover price, and my grade was a 9.8. Actually, before I put the grade in there, let's take a quick peek at the ledger stats for Things from Another World. So I've personally graded 1,341 books from Things from Another World. Average grade as it stands right now, 9.629. I should probably write this down. So let me do that real quick so we can see what the change was. All right, 9.629 average grade, 53.62% chance. So that's column E, column G, right there. 719 out of the 1341 I assigned a 9.8. So you could see these numbers change here once I put 9.8. I'll add a decimal, change that to percent. Now if we go back, this average grade, yeah, I probably need to bump all of them up at this point just so I can see them change. So 719 jumped to 720, and 53 point, what was it, 62 jumped to 53.65. So there's a lot of data already for things from another world, clearly. But we can still see how this affects their overall numbers. All right, back to the ledger. So this is done. Next up will be Clans of Bellari #1. Let's find that one. Down here. Okay. And we'll take that tape, or the sticker off. I don't think it's really going to matter because, again, I'm going to be replacing the bags and boards. So the first thing I want to do is right there examine, did the mangling of the board, the impact damage on the board, did that affect the book? I don't believe so. Maybe a little. I mean, it wasn't impacted, right? But on it looks worse from the back. What I notice is on the other side of the bag and board where it wasn't impacted, this was the issue I saw before, right there. So I don't know if that could be pressed out or not. The cover is a cardstock, and so right there you could start to see there's some wrinkling on the cardstock itself. So even if I were able to press that out, you're still getting not like color breaking wrinkles necessarily, but definitely something there that would still be very noticeable. So I look at that, and you're getting into the 9.2, 9.4 range just because of that, plus the corner. That corner right there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to do something. I'm going to switch a couple of screens here. Hey, Dragon Buster GD. How's it going? Need to switch my windows real quick. There we go. Okay. Top looks pretty good. I don't see too many issues there. Back looks all right. Yeah, I don't. Again, it's still that corner up at the top. Right there. But that's pretty rough, especially on a cardstock, that curling or wrinkling I'm talking about right there. I'm going to give it a 9.2. Is it worth pressing though? That could be a 9 actually. I think I'm going to give it a 9 because actually I'm seeing issues on 3 of the 4 corners. All right. Clans of Bellari 1. into the PC you go. I'm giving you a 9. July 8th, 2021. Still selling for around cover, a little bit less. Okay, so it's added to Go Collect and cover price. 9.0. Now this is going to drop them on the ledger. They're consistently a 9.6 plus type of shop. So anything like that, that's where you see their average drop. Just the simple math of it. So in this case, I'm going to grab an older bag and board. I do this sometimes just to save the brand new ones in case I get a book like this. So I'll go ahead and add the 9.0 to the back. And that's too bad. Nice Aftershock book, number 1, but I'm going with the 9.0 on this. All right, next up is Fight Girls. Let me get that out of the stack. This is the Frank Cho, Sabine Rich book. Let's see. This one I don't see the damage to the bag and board, so I'm hoping this one comes out pretty clean. Still remove the sticker. The other tough part when you take the sticker off is then you get this on the bag and board, which again creates it basically ruins it so that it doesn't lay flat anymore. It's you'd have to kind of feel it, but right there. So then that, when there's another book back against it on this side, starts to press into the cover of the other book. So I pay for these, so I pay extra for the bags and boards, and it's unfortunate that I have to replace them. All right. This one has some slight curling on the cover right there. You can see that in the light. So already borderline 9.8. Corner looks okay. The top one looks really good. That one looks fine. Edges are really, really sharp. Nothing on the cover. Looks great. The AWA upshots, they use sort of the same paper material and quality like IDW, and so they're really tough. Slightly like Marvel, I would say, just a touch above Marvel's paper quality, which is not saying very much. But hard for me to get 9.8s in these. This looks like a 9.8 to me, even with the slight curling. I really wouldn't punish it for that. Might be worthy of a press, but I think it's a 9.8 by itself. So I'm going to replace the bag and board on that. Certainly because it was mangled here in transit, but also because of the sticker issue. put that aside, get back to the cataloging. No image for this one yet. 9.8, July 8th. Still a cover price book. I took a chance on this one. I've ordered a couple copies. I'm a Frank Cho fan. Okay, that one is in 9.8. So now they're average in this this order. It's back up to a 9.53. So we'll have to see if the rest of the order is strong enough so that it can at least get back to the 9.6 that TFAW is known for. All right, so I'll put the 9.8 there. Slide it just to the edge of the desk so I can pick it up, just like that. I feel like I could do this all in my sleep at this point. All right, so Fight Girls #1, AWA, Frank Cho, that gets the 9.8. All right, what is next? Memo #1, this is the regular cover A. Where are you? Right here. So this was one of the worst bags and boards that I got right there. Pretty bad. You can see on the back. So I'm going to show the book right there to see. Yeah, so you can see how that was impacted, right? So you got the impact on the board right there, and then you've got the impact on the book. It's kind of hard to see on the back. Let's see. The colors on these aren't making it easy to see here, but essentially there is a bit of bending. The corner itself looks sharp there, but let's see. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. So right in there, that's where it was bent because of that. So that's the problem. So let me get the book out of here. Cool looking cover. This is from the Boombox line from Boom Studios, but a little bit of curling here. Could this be pressed out? Possibly. Possibly. Might be a interesting one to try. See if I can get that out. Actually, a few of these, just from this order alone, would be worth trying a press over. Just some slight curling in here again that if it didn't have the impact damage, would I want to press it just before I send it off to CGC? Yeah, probably. I'm noticing a little bit. It's hard to tell with this sort of like whitish light blue back on the cover here, but right there, there's looks to be an issue right there in that corner. Just a little softening possible tearing right there. It's not terrible. I don't think it's a complete deal breaker, but with the curling and that impact, I'm going to give this a 9.4 with the opportunity for a press. So the way I do that is I just mark it, put the grade on the back, and then I put the letter P right next to it so that I can tell that it's a book that I could pull out of my collection and press. All right, so this one, ammo 1, cover A, 9.4. And like I said, I feel like my pressing skills could improve that to a 9.6. So I usually expect that if I'm putting that designation that it has the potential of being one grade up. I don't have any pipe dreams of pretending that I'm a professional presser, that I could take a 9.4 to a 9.8. If I did press a 9.4 and send it to CGC and got a 9.8, then hey, that's gravy. All right, so that's been entered. So Memo was just a title I just missed. I didn't pre-order it. The 10 copy became available, and when I was looking at the 10 copy on Things from Another World, I figured I'd pick up the cover A as well. All right, so thanks to the bags and the boards being impacted in transit, I have to give it a fresh bag and board. So I'll do that, and then all I do here is put the 9.4 with the letter P so that I know that when I'm looking at my collection, I can find, I'm looking for 9.8s to send out for grading, but I'm also looking for books that I know I can improve on and press out. So there you go. What I started to do with my eBay listings, I think I only have a couple up there like this, but I'll drop in some condition notes. Like the thing about eBay is you can't really tell from a scan or photo like these defects that I can show here on camera. So it's like if I took 24 hours, let's say, of not necessarily my time in real time, but if I took the 24 hours and pressed the book, would anybody really notice the difference anyway? So I'll just put a condition note like the book benefits from a press, or look at the bottom left corner or something like that. I'll just call it out in the condition notes within the description. So this is the 10 copy. At first glance, the bag and board does not look damaged. There's a little bit there, but that's just normal. So this is a good sign on the 10 copy. And I'll get rid of this sticker. And then what ends up happening is I start collecting a pile of these stickers, and they end up all over my desk, and I gotta peel them off and throw them out. Okay. If you are watching live, want to say hi in the chat? It's all good. All right, let's see how this one turned out. So this is really tough up here. I don't see any issues, but I do have to be careful of my fingers not to get fingerprints, because this is where they'll show up. You can see right there's something already right in the middle. Just a little bit of discoloration. I don't think it's too terrible or noticeable, but Top looks okay. Corner looks fine. Just some very, very, very minor. I mean, you can't right there in the top left. You can kind of see there's just some very, very minor chipping or edging. I don't know what you call that specifically, but definitely some noticeable color breaking. But very, very. I mean, we're talking about. I mean, almost negligible. So the corner is what it is. Not going to get dinged too much on that. That's just typical production corner splitting. Spine looks pretty good. That corner looks good. It's looking good overall. My hands are starting to get sweaty, so I'm getting a little nervous holding the book here. Yeah, it looks good. Right down here, just noticed some reflection in the corner. I don't know if you could see that on camera. Right there at the very bottom, there's just some slight bending, but it's really, I'm being nitpicky now. It's a 9.8. So before I get fingerprints all over it, I'm just gonna put it down. So that's a cool cover. I like that one. Let's get it into the database here. So go collect. Alt left moves it back on the keyboard, Windows keyboard if you're playing at home. 9.8. Acquired July 8th. I always put the acquisition date of the date I ordered, not the date that it arrived, just so I can, again, have a reference point in case I need to go back to TFAW and find my order. So the 10 copy looks like it's selling for $10, so it's right at ratio. That's cool. Yeah. That would look good in a slab. Maybe even hang it up in a kid's room or something. I like it. It's a cool cover. Thought the cover A was good too. It's too bad it was a 9.4. All right, things from another world. Save. And go back to the spreadsheet. Yep, it's in both. 9.8. So now we're up to 60%. 3 out of 5. But overall 9.56. All right, gonna replace the bag and board. I mean, this is literally a gamble when you've got an order with impact damage. I remember a lot of my Midtown orders were like this, where like 75% of the order had that impact damage in transit. And then you get lucky and a few books would survive it just because they've slid around or just the positioning of it somehow, some way. And you'd always pray that at least the books that survived were keys or something. It wasn't always the case. It was just quite random. Like this one, Nice House on the Lake, number 2. I wanted to make sure that I got a clean extra copy of this. This was, again, one of the worst books that were affected. You can see on the back there. And I'm going to just barely take it out of the bag and board so that you can see along with me if that affected the grade. It looks like it did survive. That white that you see right there, again, that's normal production, a normal production issue right there. Now on the front, I'm going to take the sticker off. So I don't want the sticker sticking to the actual comic. Again, right there. I think this one lucked out. I'll go ahead and take it out completely. Okay. Now, I like the story. I don't mind that Tinian's doing this on the DC Black Label. The only thing I wish, or I miss, I should say, is it doesn't have the boom matte cover option. This is a sort of glossy paper cover. So what I noticed with that is there's definitely some curling here. As I shift it in the light, you can see that. It's not terrible. It definitely could be pressed out. Unfortunately, though, it's the bottom corner that's the issue. The bottom left corner right here. So that, yeah, there we go. That right there is a deal breaker. So not even a 9.8 or a 9.6 on that one. And the back corner makes it even worse. When I was unboxing this, I was like, well, this could be a pressing candidate. It still could, but that's pretty bad. That's hard to get out. Like you're talking about humidifier or some spot steaming. That's disappointing. So I gave the other book a 9 for this type of damage because it had other issues as well. So that with the rolling, I would probably stay consistent, although the back, that's the impact, it's weird. It goes up probably a good inch up into the DC logo there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like now you're starting to get into 8.5 territory, which is probably where I'll put it. I'd probably mark it 8.5 with a press. Maybe there's some pressing that could make it not look as bad, and maybe take it to a 9 or a 9.2. I don't know, but it's disappointing. It's a great cover. I wanted to have multiples of these just to kind of follow along with Something is Killing the Children and Department of Truth, but not on that one. So let me get it in here. Nice House Lake 2. 8.5. Again, if I can improve it with the press, I'll come back and adjust the grade. But if you're watching and you're wondering, like, there were no spine ticks, why would you give it an 8.5? The impact damage is so bad. It's so bad in the corner. You're talking about like an inch of impact that may or may not be pressable. And I have to be fair with the book. Of course, this is one that cover price is indicated with the flame icon. That means it's hot, I guess. Up 13% to $4.45. I mean, I guess it's a hot comic. Okay, so this is also going to hurt their overall score, unfortunately. Now, 9.56 in the order drops to a 9.38. So that's pretty significant. Now on this one, I'll just grab a bag and board I've already got ready to go. I'll put the 8.5 here with the letter P to have that indicator that it might be worth pressing. So there's a couple books in here that I may even do another follow-up on with a pressing video. I'm still an amateur, I would say. I don't know how many books I've pressed. Some have been improved, some haven't. But I'm still learning, and I think I've got one video on there about pressing. I'll probably create another one this week and maybe use a book from this order. All right, so this one's Ordinary Gods #1 We've got 3 more to go. So the impact was right there on that corner. Not as severe as the others. Let's get this out. Okay, let's see what we got here. What do you think so far? You see any issues? I just noticed right in there. The color and the faces on here, the focus isn't being picked up by the camera, but yeah, right there at the top. It's a little bit of discoloration and it's actually not discoloration, it's the art. It's part of the art. So I think we're good because you could see it throughout here. That's all in the art. So it's a very, very, very slight very minor impact issue in that corner. Down here, again, very, very minor. Just off of the corner. A little bit of a dent there. Rest looks pretty good. So would you give a book like this a 9.8? Say, yeah, those are acceptable. Would you spend your money to grade a book like this? These are the questions I ask myself. It's like, it's borderline, right? Like I want, and this is where you have to take the emotion out of it too, because you don't necessarily want to overly critique or punish a book and then miss out. I think it's a 9.8. I think it's a 9.8. But I don't want to give it a 9.8 because I want this first issue just to be a 9.8 in my collection. I do feel like I would send this in. I think actually more than the top corner, it's this down here that's probably the most troubling. But I think the book is so clean otherwise that, yeah, right there. That's right. That little dent there. What I was going to say, the book is so clean otherwise that I think that would be the focus right down there. And the rest of it would get a complete pass. So I'm going to leave it as a 9.8. Ordinary Gods. So you can sense the theme of this order, right? It's almost like in every other book has been damaged, or you're getting it in that 9.8 quality. Or if I was wrong on this one, it's a 9.6 all day at least, minimum. Ordinary Gods 1. Still selling for cover. This one I picked up a lot of reviews on YouTube and online and elsewhere were just saying that they, I noticed folks on Twitter talking about it, just saying that they really enjoyed the story. So I wanted to pick that up to either read or potentially read in a trade down the line. All right, into the spreadsheet you go as a 9.8. And we are literally alternating 989, 9894, 9885, 98. Now, unfortunately, the next one up is the 25 copy. So if the pattern holds up, I'm setting myself up for some disappointment. But let me get this bagged and boarded, 9.8 on the board. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate that. It's always nice to know that what I'm sharing is useful. It can be quite tedious, so you definitely have to have some patience for it. But in the long run, it is really, really worth the time, because you can then go and find these books very, very quickly. And books that you want to grade and sell, upgrade, or just kind of have awareness of what's in your collection. So it's worth the trouble, in my opinion, of course. All right, so are we going to break the pattern? You know, this was one I think I took out of the bag and board during the unboxing, because I already noticed some things. And see, that's fun too. The sticker ripped. I'm telling you, like, I think the best thing for companies to do, and I know we're talking about keeping costs down and everything, is do like branded boards or something. Anyway, so I can already tell this is not a 9.8, right? These are the same issues I talked about in the unboxing. All of this chipping on the edge here. This to me looks like a comic that sat up on a wired shelf at the comic stores. Like, I can't stand that. They put those wire shelves all up on the wall, and then they just start sitting their books up there, and they just rub on the wire shelf. And that's what this book reminds me of. So just looking at that, you're looking at that 9.2-ish, 9.4-ish type of defect. I got a book back from CGC a year ago. I swore it was a 9.8. And then when I took the book and turned it over, this is what the bottom cover looked like. And I'm like, wow, I totally missed that. So I'm hypersensitive when I see that and think, oh, it's a 9.2. It looks really clean. Colors are great on the back. Otherwise, gosh, just some barely light bending there. There's really nothing there. Corner looks okay. Again, typical. Spine looks great. I don't see really any spine ticks at all. I'll go through one more time. Oh, this is what I remember. Yeah, so with this one right here, you could see that's just a straight like spine tear. So it's tough because there's no impact damage, right? So at least survived that, but the book itself was just in rough shape. I don't know how else to put it. So what is this? Is it a, do you think it's a 9.2? Do you think it's a 9.4? I mean, to me, the tear alone takes it to 9.4, and then this stuff makes it a 9.2. Is it a 9? I have a 9.0. You can't see it, but there's another row up on my wall of CGC books, and a lot of times I'll use these books. Like I have this ASM as a 5.5, and while I love the book, you know, why is it up here on the wall as opposed to other books that I own? I use it for reference, so I can come in here and look and see, okay, a 5.5 has these issues, and not that I'm going to compare a modern to a Silver Age and actually hold it up or look at it, but it reminds me of what defects constitute a drop to 9.5 or a raise in grade to a 9.5, depending on how I'm looking at things. So like when I'm going through my heritage auctions and I'm zooming in and looking at something they're calling a 4.0, I'm like, but does it look like that? You know, I don't know. So the point, I have a 9.0 up there, and the 9.0 has a couple of spine ticks, some corner softening, very, very light minor impact on the corner, but really crisp, clean edges otherwise. I'm looking at it right now. So is this along the lines of that 9? I think this is a little bit better. So I'm going to put it as a 9 too. Still unfortunate, because this was the whole reason that I placed the order, was to get the Wind 9.8, 1 at 25. Wind 8. So I don't like saying something is undervalued or underappreciated or underwhere or under anything, because I think it's just I think that's just part of the hype machine. The better way for me to describe how I feel about like Wind, let's say, is that this is, I would say, out of all of James Tynion's current projects, this is probably the one that has the least amount of attention. Is it undervalued or underappreciated? No. But if I had this in a 9.8, it would be super undervalued. I always love that. Like, I want to build like a speculator dictionary. I think it'd be awesome. Or instead of a speculator dictionary, like a speculator translation guide or something, right? So if I say, I believe that Wind is supremely undervalued, it means that I got this and every other copy of Wind in a 1 in 25 and a 9.8 in my collection, and I need it. I need you guys to believe in it so that I can get some value out of this investment and can flip it, because I don't really want to hold Wind in my collection for the next 20 or 30 years. So that's really what that means when they say undervalued. I really enjoy Tynion's work, Tynan. And I think that this will be kind of the rising tide raises all boats sort of thing. That's what I'm banking on. So I'm willing to grab some of the variants for Wind as Tynan continues to gain and even becomes more popular and respected over time. I think some of these other works are going to be looked at, and I think that something like this will be given another round of attention and looked at for story and art and all that good stuff. So I wrote 9.8 on that, didn't I? Nope. I think I was too busy making fun of speculators. 9.2. There we go. Gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. Gotta wait to get back on Twitter to make fun of speculators. I can't do it here. Alright. I don't mean speculators like all speculators, right? Like that's really unfair to the speculator community. It's really only most of them. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I did forget to put this back in the spreadsheet. So 9.2 continues to drop the average. Let's see if X-Force 21 can help. I don't have a good feeling about it because it is a Marvel book, but here we go. X-Force 21. Gotta get rid of the dreaded sticker again. Got a nice pile of stickers happening there, which is great. Yeah, I love that Marvel like paper thin outer cover. This was again a board that was pretty beat up and mangled. Of course, now those stickers are messing with the focus. Get rid of them. see there. Pretty mangled bag and board. So definitely needs some pressing. Right in there, there's a lot of like inner folding and wrinkling. Right there is pretty bad on the corner. So I'm already looking. I've already downgraded it to a 9.6 or 9.4/9.6. So we're right in that range. Looks okay otherwise. Edge looks pretty good. So what do you do in this case? So that's just from the front cover, from the wrapping. Those aren't all color breaking defects. So what do you do in this case? So you've got a little bit of wrinkling on the front. You definitely have that right there. So that's hard to get right on camera, but hopefully you could pick that right there, I think. Yeah, there we go. There's a good angle. So right there, there's a definite fold, and there's actually a little bit of a crease going up in either direction there. I don't know if you could see that, but it's actually going up and down in the spine. So what do you do with this one? Could it be pressed out? Like, yeah, possibly. I can even feel the the crease right in there. Probably a 9.4 with a press for this one. It looks good otherwise. The corners are fine. There's really no issue in the corners. But definitely some curling right there. Up and down right in here. So there's some curling going on that also could be pressed out. So I'm going to give it a 9.4 with the press. So that does not help TFAW in their overall score. X-Force 21. Let's get this into the system. .4, July 8th. Things from Another World. Save that. X-Force 12. Oh, this was the variant, right? Cover B? No? Is this just not in there? X-Force. Oh, what am I doing? Not X-Force 12, X-Force 21. My bad. There we go. 9.4. I own one. Okay, almost done entering this book, and then we'll go over the TFAW scores. Again, with this being in the condition that it's in, I'm going to take a bag and board out already put together, drop the 9.4 on it with the press indicator. I don't know if I could completely get that that dent from the middle of the spine out. Again, it would be worth a try just to see. So I'm going to give it the press indicator. Okay. So now let's go. Let's look at the overall score. So in Go Collect, in cover price, 9.4. So this order, the average grade was 9.41. 44% of the books ended up being a 9.8. That's 4 out of the 9. So let's see what this did to TFAW's overall score. So when I started, they were at 9.629, 53.62%. So that was what we had. These numbers obviously lower. So overall, they are now 9.6278. Really didn't drop the average grade too much. 53.62 dropped to 53.56. Cost per 9.8, $4.80. Cost per non 9.8. I didn't track these, but the cost per non 9.8, I'm sure went up because of the 25 copy Wind that I paid for that ended up coming back as a 9.2, I believe. So again, a really strong track record from Things from Another World. I'd have to consistently get some orders that look like that. What I'm thinking of doing is building a month-to-month trend, but it's not consistent. Sometimes I don't order from every store every month, so I don't know if that's particularly fair. But in the case of Things from Another World, it might be interesting to see month to month what it looks like. I think a separation of their subscription and their one-off orders, I think, is necessary. I don't want to say it's unfair because it's all one company, but it is almost a little unfair if I'm comparing the subscription delivery books where, and I'm due for an unboxing of one of these, where it's a giant, massive order with those packing peanuts versus the comic book mailer type cardboard, because the quality is just different in terms of the packing and shipping with each order. But again, all from one company. I shouldn't have to order 50 books just to ensure better delivery. If I order 2 or 3, I should assume and expect the same sort of quality and packing, no matter what. So anyway, I'm going to end here. Thank you all for hanging out, for checking out the live stream. This is a lot of fun for me, so if you want to jump in and ask questions and grade along with me, we can kind of guess, and you can argue with me. I would love that, to have some chat arguments around grading and what I'm assigning to books. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but hope you're having a lot of fun in with your collecting and everything that you're doing with comics. And we will see you next time. Happy collecting. Thank you.